As some of you may know from our previous set tour videos, we use an Elgato as our primary capture device. It records in a variety of formats, it's got a dongle for older inputs, and it's slick and cool looking. But we've found a fatal flaw in how it works. We've lost a number of games to this specific bug. 2 sessions of Mario Sunshine, and 1 session each of Muramass of the Demon Blade, Sonic 3, Shovel Knight, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and Splatoon. When you first open up the Elgato's capturing application, it immediately begins recording. These files are dumped into a folder with the name given in the software and consist of .ts files and a bunch of metadata. TS files are just a simple MPEG stream, the same format our camera also records in. From what we can tell, when you hit the big record button on the Elgato, it's not actually recording anything. The Elgato is always recording when the software is open and the Elgato is connected. What it's doing instead is making a marker in the metadata that points to a specific time in the TS file. When you click the recording off, the program makes a second marker, and then begins to convert all the captured footage between the 2 markers into a .mp4 file, which is what we actually use in our videos. We learned very early on that all of these TS files build up fairly quickly, and to delete them once the video's been uploaded. Here's where the problem arises. If during the last recording session we played a high definition game through an HDMI cable, and we're now planning to play a standard definition game through the Elgato's composite dongle, we have to change the input settings and resolution. But because it's so easy to forget that the Elgato doesn't actually begin recording when you click record, but is always recording from boot up, we actually end up changing resolution and input mid-recording without realizing it. In our example, the TS files the Elgato generates are 1920 by 1080, but the Elgato software abruptly begins to feed the file 720 by 480 footage at a different frame rate from a different source. The end result is a garbled mess, with the Elgato trying to compensate for what it perceives to be lost frames and footage by adding random junk frames everywhere, distorting the picture, and making an audio sync impossible. The solution to this is simple, but really inconvenient, and makes up my only complaint about the Elgato. When we start a recording session, and are recording from a console that uses a different set of cables or plays at a different resolution from our last session, we have to power up the console and Elgato, turn on the software and allow it to begin generating its .ts file, change the resolution and input, causing footage corruption, close the recording software, clear out the newly generated corrupt files, and reopen the whole thing again, so that the recording software starts the new .ts files at the proper resolution for our current session. It's a pain to do, and it's honestly a little easy to forget. But at least we finally figured out what the problem is. If you happen to use an Elgato for your own stuff, always make sure to reboot the application and clear out your cache of old files anytime you have to change the resolution or input.